So this coming Sunday is ALPKIT's Sonder ride in the Bristol area. It's nicknamed Grit Lush, as in the Bristolian for grit, which is great. I would have probably called it Dirt Lush, but there you go. It's 64 kilometres long, 880 metres of elevation, and it's all around the area here in North Somerset and Bristol where I live and ride my bike normally. It's a mixture of terrain. There's some road riding, there's some bridle path stuff. There's absolutely nothing really that relates to the stuff I was riding in Brecon a couple of weeks ago. And rather than being a bike overview from an expert on a road ride, this is the first off-road event I've ever done. I've spent decades riding my time trial bike and my road bike in races, pinning numbers on, but this is the first time I've ever entered an event that involves riding off-road, and I need your help. I'm aware that this isn't some kind of massive multi-day expedition into the wild, and we've got Grit Fest coming up in the summer, which is a 3-day event, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get one of these under my belt before the summer. I don't have tons of options in terms of bike stuff. I've got my Giant Revolt Zero aluminium frame bike with the wheels that came with it, and we put some WTB Radler tubeless tyres on there. But where I do have some options and I need some input are what to take with me, what not to take with me, and where to put it on the bike. So obviously there are some things that are known and some things that are unknown. One, my off-road riding skills are not fantastic. There are some tricky sections on this. I have sought some advice from my learned friends, who some of you have seen on the channel, about some of the bits that are really dicey, but there will be almost certainly some walking going on here. It's going to be a long day. It's probably going to take me 5-6 hours to ride this. So I've got to think about warmth, I've got to think about food, I've got to think about drink. Finally, I've got to think about tubeless tyres. Is there any maintenance that I need to do before the ride, bearing in mind we set these up a few months ago? And secondly, what happens if I have a puncture? That is one of the things I am actually most nervous about. So top to bottom, I'm going to start off with my Giro Vanquish Aero helmet and my Oakley flight jacket with reactor light lenses. Unless it suddenly turns into the Bahamas over the next week or so, these have always held up to even the brightest of sunshines. My fantastic spring Mavic gloves, which I absolutely adore and absolutely gutted when I wear these out because they don't make these anymore. And whilst clothing wise I'm going to make sure I'm wrapped up warm, I will also pack my Montane walking jacket so that if I do get to wear this, I will look like a proper gravel rider, because they always seem to be wearing walking jackets and not cycling jackets. And this I'll keep packed in one of my bags in case I need it, because I hate the cold. Also packed in my bag will be these. Now, if you don't know what these are sacred socks. If you've ever done any through hiking or camping of any sort, you'll know what sacred socks are and you'll know the benefit of them. And finally, on my feet, I'll be wearing my now trusty Shimano NW5 winter boots. They have been brilliant. There's a review of these up here. So let's talk about some of the stuff that I need some help on. Let's start with bike kit that I'm going to take on the bike. Let's begin with the obvious stuff. So Garmin Edge 520 rear light. It's going to be getting dark, so I'll probably take a front light as well, but there are some road sections, so I'll be putting that on. I've got the Topeak Pocket Rocket pump, because I have been recently changing the pressure in my tyres whilst I've been out on a ride. And then we've got some of the mechanical stuff. Now this might be a bit overkill, but I have both a Topeak ratchet drive set. By the way, links to all the equipment, it's going to be below, not only links to where you can get hold of it, but also for you to have a look at to give me some advice. But we've got one of the Crank Brothers multi-tools and a ratchet set. Now that is probably a little bit of overkill for both of those, but I'd rather be safe than sorry on this first ride. This, by the way, is a fantastic bit of kit. And was a present to me from Chrissy and Katie for my birthday last year. Awesome bit of kit. Now, running tubeless, obviously the plan is not to get any punctures, but I know from experience of riding with people that have had punctures with tubeless that it's usually catastrophic. I've got this relatively cheap-ish Lifeline kit. Again, this was a present. Now, I've taken it out of this packet and I've put it in here. Now, I've never used patches, and I'm going to need to look on YouTube to figure out how to actually use this, but I've taken it out of the horrible plastic packet and put it in this 360 camera case. I also have a backup inner tube for worst case scenario. I'd like to get hold of a couple of the Tubolito inner tubes. If you guys follow Rides of Japan, excellent YouTube channel, we'll put a link above. But I'll take a spare inner tube as well, just to be safe than sorry. And I'm not going to take any CO2 on this one, because obviously I have the Pocket Rocket, and all of that, more or less all of that, unless it's getting mounted on the bike, going to go in one of these waterproof design caddy sack cases and then go in one of the bags. And I also have a quick link, and I also have a crow's foot. The last thing in terms of bike equipment equipment I've ordered but hasn't arrived yet is some Vittoria Pit Stop. Well, actually not Vittoria Pit Stop because I couldn't actually find any of that, but the Zephyl equivalent. It's a compression spray with sealant inside it, and I used to use this when I was time trialing to get me home, but I seem to have fallen off the radar a little bit with it, and then I watched the Gravel World Championships and realised that they were all carrying this stuff, so I've got some of that on the way. So in essence, I've got 3 possible ways of fixing a fail on my tubeless. I've got the sealant in the tubeless tyres, I'll have the Zephyl compression sealant stuff, and I also have the plugs. Fingers crossed that'll be enough. Any other issues than that? Be a phone call, because I'm never going to be that far away from home. So fingers crossed that'll get me out of most situations, but leave a comment below if there's anything I've missed so far. So this next bit might be a little bit of overkill, but this goes with me anywhere that I go. Photo shoots, camping trips, bike rides, anywhere that I might get stranded. I've got tablets, painkillers, kinesio tape, normal plasters, survival blanket, alcohol wipes, waterproof and windproof matches, and some steri tabs. It weighs next to nothing, better to be safe than sorry. The next bit doesn't overly concern you guys because this is the stuff that I'll be taking with me. Let's start off with the microphones. I'm going to take 2 of these Rode wireless go-tos, one on me, and possibly if I meet somebody interesting, I'll sling this other one on the reason I take this with me and I use these all the time is that the audio records on body. 360 camera, that's the one that goes on the handlebars so that I can move the camera around. I'll stick in one of my small, trusty but pretty broken selfie sticks that normally goes on there so I can get those kind of drone shots. I've got a GoPro 11 Mini Black, that's going to go underneath the saddle on the back facing backwards, and the GoPro 9 that you're watching on up here, so you can't see it in shot, will be going on this slightly adapted mouth mount. These mouth mounts are fantastic. They just got a very weird bit sticking off the front here, which I've hacked off and filed down. This is the official GoPro one. This is the one that Francis Cade talks about. It's fantastic, but you can see there's a massive size difference between the 2 of them. So this one is comfortable and does the job. And if you want to see the video that I make using these cameras, then please hit the notifications bell and subscribe to the channel below, and that way you'll get a message when this video goes live. Also, please give me a thumbs up. It really does massively help the channel. Can't tell you how much it makes a difference. So if you could hit thumbs up right now before we go any further, and please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think in terms of gear and where I'm going to put this. We're going to move on to that in a minute, where I'm going to put this on the bike, but please leave me a comment. It really does massively help the channel. And finally, we got nutrition. Now, I've got an awful lot more to buy, and I'm not overly bothered about the gels and the drinks, powders and things like that. I kind of know what I'm doing with that. It will be quite a lot of savoury stuff because it will be a lot of low intensity riding. I don't need to replace a massive amount of glycogen, but obviously I will take 5 or 6 gels, energy drink and some savoury stuff. The issue I have is drink bottles, not what to put in them, but where to put them. We'll come on to that when we talk about the bike, but I need some advice. So that's all the stuff I'm taking with me, but now I need to get the bike fixed up and ready to go with all the bags and everything else that I'm taking with you, because I have a question that I need your advice on. Okay, so the wheels and the bags are on. At the front here, we've got one of these cheap Amazon Rhino bags, and we've got on the frame bag, one of these Planet X Pod sacks, both of which fantastically boast waterproof zips, but the actual bags themselves aren't waterproof, which means that anything that goes in here that could be at danger of getting wet needs to go in waterproof bags. And so, folks, to one of my multiple dilemmas. Now, in terms of bottle cages, I've got one down here that I can actually get 550 or 500 ml bottle in and out of, and that's fine. But actually, over the ride that I'm going to be on, I'm going to need at least double this for the journey. So I could ride with my bottle here, or at risk of making it look like I'm riding unbound or something, I could stick a couple of fork bottle cages on either side and take both bottles with me. But I'm not sure if that's going to look a little bit knobby. The other thing that crossed my mind is I've got a couple of bottle cage bolts on top here, and I actually hate bento boxes. And I thought to myself, I've never actually seen anybody with a bottle cage mounted along their top tube. Is there a reason for this? Am I missing something? The bottle cage that I would use on here would be one of these old profile ones, which are rock solid. There's literally no chance of it slipping out. If I ride with it here, I can only take one 550 ml bottle, and I'll have to refuel on the way, which I don't really want to do. If I put the bottle cages on the forks, well, then I can take 2 550 ml bottles, one with water, one with carb drink. But would I look like a chopper? And if I put my bottle cage on the top here, I could take one of these full 1 litre bottles with me going along the top. But again, would I look like a bit of an idiot? Let me know in the comments below what you think I should do, because I am a little bit torn about this at the moment. Let's get everything in the bags and on the bike. Garmin 360 camera on, let's get some stuff in the handlebar bag. First aid kit, selfie stick, GoPro with mouth mount, microphone, and at least a couple of gels to keep me going in there. As cheap as this handle bag is, and as waterproof as it isn't, I have to say, it's pretty sturdy and solid once it's fitted on. Just added this little tab to the zip to make it a bit easier to do up and undo, but it's got all these kind of elasticated bits to stick your rain jacket or gloves in. Sometimes clip my microphone to these webbing straps here, and there's a little pocket down the side here to jam things in, and I have to say, it's actually pretty decent for the price. So in the frame bag, I've got my rain jacket, which I'll actually put in a dry bag before it goes in there properly, and all the spares kit, and then all my spares in terms of food and drink will go in on top of that to keep me going. There'll be plenty more where that came from to keep the motivation and the morale up. Then at the back end of the bike, we've got the GoPro 11 Mini and we've got the light. And then last but not least, we've got the Topeak Pocket Rocket Pump. So folks, there we have it. Far from being a Rise of Japan or Matt Page expert overview of the bike they're taking on some epic journey, I'm basically doing a Sunday gravel bike ride close to home. It's pretty far, certainly for me, but I'm looking more for advice than trying to teach you anything. I want to know if I've forgotten anything, if I'm taking anything that I don't need to take, and any advice on maybe where to put these things. And also, you know, it shouldn't be about looks and stuff, but you know, should I put the bottle cage on the front? Should I put it on the top tube? Should I stick with this? Give me some advice. I know for a fact there are going to be some real experts out there that can help me on this brand new journey of mine. Follow this journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell. I cannot tell you how much it has a massive impact on the channel. If you can give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below and let me know where I've gone right and where I've gone wrong, and if you're doing the Sonder gravel ride on Sunday. If you are, come say hi. I'll see you on the next video.